What's good, guys? Welcome to another episode of No Capes Required. I got the man, the myth, the legend, Doug Gardner, back again, of course. And yeah, we are going to try to get as many topics as we can, as quickly as we can, because if you haven't noticed, March is happening, March Madness is happening, and we're probably missing some great basketball. So if you just want to watch this program, do it during the commercial breaks, and yeah, and hopefully your bracket's not busted by the end of this episode.
Which it probably will be.
Yes, it will. So the deal that everybody has been talking about forever, it seems, has finally been complete. It happened this week. Yes, the Disney-Fox merger deal is through. Disney now acquires Fox and all its acquisitions. And yes, in terms of the superhero world, that means that the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Merc with a Mouth Deadpool are all now officially Disney's. They have them.
Yeah.
So obviously, and this goes even beyond just, superheroes. The fact that, they now have, The Simpsons, Aliens, and other things. But obviously, I think most people are wondering how this is going to impact the MCU. And, what do you think now that this is official?
Well, this is pretty interesting because Disney is such a kid-friendly organization.
Yeah.
To be acquiring movies that have gone in the direction of rated R and PG-13 with a little bit more violence and malice within their movies. This is an interesting step. I see why, as we all know, or as we're introducing to you, Disney is going into the streaming kind of realm, and they've introduced, I think, Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Disney Plus. And so this all comes about, and it's amazing, Scott, we were talking before the show, this all comes about because of Netflix and how big Netflix has become, that other top organizations have really taken notice and trying to get into the game as well.
There are some bad news, if you want to call it bad news, for any Marvel fans who want to see these movies early and just want, X-Men, just be introduced into the MCU. Well, it's possible that it could take some time, and according to the Hollywood Reporter, it most likely wouldn't happen until 2021 because they've got to get screenplays out for these movies. So if you are looking for it to be earlier than that, I don't think it's going to happen unless Kevin Feige and others have already had like I said, scripts for these movies already in place.
And the thing is, Marvel they're not in a rush to put out an X-Men collective. They're not in place to put out an X-Men collaborative movie with the Avengers. They have so much depth within the Marvel universe right now that they can just take their time, and fans will be okay with that.
No, exactly. But I guess now looking ahead, who do you think will be the first introduced into the MCU, and who do you think should be?
Between who? Give me an example.
Oh yeah, so I guess the three main properties are, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and of course Deadpool.
Probably they might chill on Fantastic Four movies after that one they put out a couple years ago. I could definitely see Deadpool being a spearhead because it's Deadpool, how well he was doing with the box office. I can definitely see Deadpool being kind of their trophy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So I love Deadpool. He's arguably my favorite superhero.
Right.
But I think the problem with, even though I think he would in some ways be the easiest to introduce into the MCU because you don't really need a story for him. He would actually just make fun of the situation. Because of his fourth wall breaking, he's kind of the perfect way to just honestly blend the two modes like nothing happened.
You can do anything with Deadpool.
He'll make fun of it. I think what worries me about Deadpool in terms of just in the MCU is that he's rated R, and it's going to be a PG-13 version. With all the MCU movies, I don't feel like any other than we mentioned maybe Black Widow really being rated R films. So and I don't think anybody, including myself, wants Deadpool to be PG-13. Although, as we were talking about sort of before the show, he could make fun of that too, because he would be like trying to swear and they would keep bleeping him out and everything.
Again, he's that type of character. He's very versatile with the way you can write him.
Deadpool, I think, is one of the things that's the only property where you don't need to change anything about it, because it's already great and nobody's really asking for it to be changed.
Yeah.
The other two films, that's a different story, or the other two franchises. So even though I find, some of the X-Men films good, Apocalypse, I mean, we'll see what happens with this Dark Phoenix movie. I mean, and that will probably, I think that could be a determinant whether, the X-Men come in earlier or not.
Right.
But if there's one franchise that I feel like should be introduced first, it's the Fantastic Four. Just because 20th Century Fox, you've had your chances to really portray the first family in a great light. And look, even though I will admit, when I was a kid and I watched the first Fantastic Four movie, I thought it was fun. But as an adult, it doesn't age well.
No, not at all.
So, I mean, I just feel like in the MCU's hands, they can really portray the Fantastic Four in a great way. Get to see Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm, Reed Richards, and Sue in a great light. And so that's why I think that they would be the best to introduce. And I think easier than X-Men right now, because with X-Men you have to introduce mutants, and then I think that should take some time. I mean, if you introduce mutants immediately, people are going to be wondering, well, where were they this whole time? Right. We didn't know that mutants existed.
Right.
So I feel like, wait a few years and then maybe have some plot points where you can introduce mutants, like, gradually, I guess, through the MCU.
Yeah, like I said, they don't have any type of rush. Like, they have no need to rush out movies. They have no need to add characters that people want to see right now. They can build the hype over some years and deliver it at a later point, because all the movies they have been putting out thus far have been fire.
Now, the one argument to the X-Men coming out as early as possible, and it will probably be the biggest argument, which fans are probably typing in the comment section as we speak. Hugh Jackman said a couple years ago, or a year, whatever back, that he was going to be done with the Wolverine role after Logan, unless he could team up with the Avengers. And suddenly here we are with this opportunity where that could happen. So would you like to see Hugh Jackman return to the Wolverine role in the MCU?
Hugh did such a good job at Wolverine. I wouldn't mind it, but with Logan, I feel like that was just like the perfect ending.
Yeah.
I don't see. It's like he retired. His jersey's in the rafters now.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need to do any more. I would actually. I'm really on the fence. I'm conflicted right now. But I wouldn't mind if they tried to introduce a new kind of Wolverine. But I also wouldn't mind if Hugh did it. But he has all the accolades. He's Jordan right now.
Yeah, no, and he just dropped like a 60-point game in the championship with Logan. Yeah, something like that. So I think, your conflict is sort of the same as mine. So I think the moviegoer in me, or the movie fan, almost like Logan was like kind of the perfect ending, and that was the perfect ending almost for that character. So let's just hang it up for a while. But then, the superhero fan in me just it's like, man, he's got a chance to join hands with the Avengers, with fighting alongside them. Yeah. I mean, you can't, just help but think about that idea and smile. Right. So I am conflicted about it. I think it's really his choice.
It is.
And honestly, if he really wants to say that, you know what, Logan was a great ending and I'm ready to just, move on to different things, I can't blame him at all for that.
Not at all.
But if he also, is saying like, man, I kind of want to get back into it and, team up with Thor or whatever, I can't blame him for that either.
I'm perfectly fine with either decision you make.
So Hugh Jackman, it's all up to you, buddy. We here will be, at no case required, will be okay with whatever you decide. Disney has reinstated James Gunn, for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And if you had been paying attention, Disney had fired Gunn in July 2018 after old offensive tweets from the filmmaker, which, we're not going to just share here because this is a kid-friendly show, and, there were some inappropriate stuff said in those tweets. But they were resurfaced by, conservative personalities online. The firing was very controversial though, because Guardians of the Galaxy star, basically their core team, and I'm talking about Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper, and Dave Bautista, all signing an open letter asking for him to be rehired.
Literally Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I mean, so they succeeded, I guess, because, Marvel, he's back. And he actually did make a statement this week, and he put out on Twitter, being grateful. And he said, "I'm tremendously grateful to every person out there who has supported me over the past few months. I am always learning and will continue to work at being the best human being I can be. I deeply appreciate Disney's decision. I am excited to continue making films that investigate the ties of love that bind us all. I have been and continue to be incredibly humbled by your love and support. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you, love you all." And Karen Gillan, who actually plays Nebula, actually tweeted out a simple message, which was honestly perfect. She said, "We are Groot."
It's deep, man. It's moments like these that remind you of just like how just evolution works, playing.
No, I mean, obviously this was, a controversial firing, and, I'm sure it'll be in some minds a controversial rehiring. But, it seems like the Guardians cast, and I have to say I feel like I understand why Marvel made this decision, just because when you literally have, like we almost mentioned, like the 4 main members of the cast right there in terms of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and when they're all vying for this guy, especially Dave Bautista, like I feel like that it would be difficult to not have him be the director of this movie going forward, because there's a possibility that those actors, you don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to go on strike, and then are you going to have to hire new guys to portray Star-Lord, Rocket, and all these guys?
Right.
So
within your 3rd film of a trilogy, like
with Adam Warlock coming up, I mean, so
there wasn't much they could really do. Like they could rehire someone, and I did hear they were looking at the director that did Thor Ragnarok. I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, no, but
I mean,
he did a great job in that movie.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
I think it was like Tahiki something. I don't know. I'm not gonna mess it up like that. But to completely change your director from what you had the first 2 movies, that could potentially risk like plot holes coming about again, like you said, with strikes with cast members. The cast and the new director couldn't get along. Like your whole chemistry could mess up, and it's your 3rd movie. You don't want to mess it up within your 3rd film. Let them finish it out. Then if you want to continue Guardians of the Galaxy after the 3rd movie, then you could think about getting a new director, but let him finish right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, so, just looking at social media, it seems like most people are on his side, or most of the Marvel community have opened him back with open arms. And that was, I guess, I was thinking in the mind, okay, how is the public going to react to this? Because we have seen, especially with athletes, there are many athletes that after, I mean, I don't know who's looking up these,
I don't know
these
who
tweets,
deep dives, like,
but it always seems like when athletes win an amazing award, like when Kyler Murray won the Heisman Trophy, they dug up some old tweets from middle school with him, and then, Dante DiVincenzo for Villanova, they dug up some really old tweets. So it always happens, most of the time it happens with athletes. I mean, I guess celebrities just all around where. And look, I mean, I'm not trying to defend what these people said in the past, but I can say that everybody is not as smart as they were when, back when you were a kid and everything like that. Now, James Gunn was obviously older, so, I definitely see maybe some arguments against him, but I will say I think, people can change for the better. And, James Gunn does seem deeply apologetic with his response, and, maybe that was just a great, quote by his PR team for all we know, but I just feel like with everything, with all the information that we know right now, and with the spot that Marvel was put in, I feel like they ultimately made the right decision.
Yeah, and just to kind of add on just a little bit, James, man, like I said, we're not going to discuss his tweets here.
Yeah.
We're not going to show you the tweets, but we're going to discuss it. But they were a little weird, James.
They were
a tad bit weird. I can see why they were like, okay, we might have to release you from your contract.
Yeah, no, definitely.
They were a bit strange. Feel free to look it up on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
And make your own opinions, but from my perspective, it was very unnecessary. Celebrities, delete your tweets, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah,
just
delete everything, man, because these people, whoever they are, they will find them.
They'll find you.
And they will apparently have the time to go through everything that you ever tweeted
over
about.
a 10-year span.
That's what, they taught us this at ASU. I'm sure they're teaching it back at, Bowie State, everywhere, I think in colleges. That's what, I think just for anybody in general, just anything that you feel like you may have like tweeted offensively.
Yeah.
Just go right now, stop the video, pause it, whatever you have to do, and just delete it.
The tweets, just delete them. It's not worth it. You're risking your career at this point.
Exactly. So it's a weird time in DC when you don't have a Superman or a Batman for your upcoming films. But that's the place that the DCU is in right now.
Sadly.
And so Matt Reeves, the Batman movie is still in development, and they're scrambling, trying to recast this Batman. And one of the popular choices, I think, for both Batman and Superman has been Armie Hammer. And they actually, but this is the first time that Armie Hammer is actually quoting whether he's been approached or not. And he had this quote to say on the possibility of being Batman. "Yeah, that's the problem. I've never been approached. But if I was, I would jump at the opportunity. You can only say no or yes to projects you're offered." So, short and sweet. But, so in that mindset, I'm sure everybody, a lot of people have done their own fan casting, but we here on No Capes Required will try to help Matt Reeves and the DCU find their next Superman and Batman. Obviously, you gotta go with Batman first, because that's your guy.
That is my guy. And it's like, it is really like when you said the state of DC right now, I felt that, Sky. I felt that right here, man. Because, like, I love DC, and they're finding their way right now. But anyway,
yeah.
My choice to be a casting for Batman, and it's kind of a hard choice because, like, you have to really find a Batman that suits this character. This is like a kind of past, a little bit middle-aged Batman. This is after Jason died, and they're introducing Nightwing, as you told me before. So, you kind of have to have an older, wiser-looking Batman. And I think Nikolai, and I'm right now, I'm only saying your name once because it's hard to say. After that, I'm calling you Nick. So Nikolai Coster-Waldau, he, I think, would fit a Batman role really well. He already plays on Game of Thrones, which is like a semi-serious show. Well, not even semi, it's a super serious show.
Oh yeah.
And I think he has that kind of, that look. Like, when I looked at him, I saw his eyes, I'm like, yeah, he could be Batman. Like, and I know a Batman, because like Scott said, I'm a Batman fan.
Yeah, of course. I think the biggest thing about finding a Batman and Superman is that they are captivating.
Right.
Because, looking at the poster behind Doug, Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot in that movie was very captivating. She was very charismatic. And it's like every scene you just wanted to see what she would do next. So they have to have that, especially in their next big three. Because right now, it's a big one for the DCU. Like, so they got to try to find, Batman and Superman that can complement Wonder Woman well. I'll just point out that Armie Hammer I would love for both of these roles, but if I had to pick one for him, I actually prefer him as Superman just because of the body type, and not only just the body type. I mean, if you look at him, he kind of just looks like a superhero, but sort of that he has that charisma. He's a really good actor, and I just feel like he would just make a great Superman. Just the stature, the look, everything. I think he would be great. Also, James Marsden. I mean, like, James Marsden, I haven't seen him in much since, the X-Men days and everything. Maybe I haven't been paying attention. But I feel like he would be good as well. He's kind of got the Boy Scout look and everything. He's, like, a pretty good actor as well. So either of those choices would be great. In terms of Batman, I really like Oscar Isaac. And you'll probably remember him from, the new Star Wars movies, Poe.
Right.
So I feel like the only thing is, I mean, if you want a really tall Batman, I think he's like 5'9", but I mean, I still think he's such a great actor. I don't feel like you won't notice like his height if you want a 6-foot Batman. And hey, we've already seen that it doesn't really matter how technically tall you are. I mean, you can still kick butt being like 5'9".
I mean, Batman is Batman, man.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter how tall he is. it's that time again. Twitter question of the week. So as always, let's revisit last week's Twitter question of the week, which was, the new Avengers Endgame trailer has us wondering, who will be the face of the MCU going forward? And the options were Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and other. And the results are in, and with 43% of the vote, the winner is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
29% said Captain Marvel. She came in second.
Wow.
And then Black Panther and other tied for third with 14%. Any surprises there?
I mean, after the Captain Marvel movie, I'm not too surprised that she took number 2. But I am, just on a leader aspect, surprised T'Challa didn't do better.
Yeah.
Just from a leader aspect. I knew Spider-Man was going to win because he's Spider-Man.
You think so?
Spider-Man is, you have to love Spider-Man. He's just a very lovable character. But other than that, I like that. I like that results.
Yeah, like I said, I was, especially with, that movie and how much of an impact that seemed to not only make for the superhero world, but just the cinema world. Like I said last episode, it's the first superhero movie to get nominated for Best Picture. So I was a little bit surprised that, Black Panther didn't get more love, that he tied with other. But, all those 3 options were really good, so you couldn't really go wrong.
No,
but the only thing is, they said 43% want Spider-Man, but it seems like Kevin Feige has kind of said that Captain Marvel is going to be the face of the MCU. So there was this quote, basically, and he was talking about the movie and how he was proud of Brie Larson joining on, and there she was, and he was talking about how she was at Comic-Con, and when she was introduced to the world as Captain Marvel for the first time. And he's saying, there she was at the forefront. It was a great foreshadowing, not just for how audiences are going to embrace Brie as this character, but also for how Captain Marvel is about to take the lead and be at the forefront of the entire cinematic universe. So take that quote as what you will. That almost seems like they're saying that she's going to be the face of the MCU going forward.
And like I said, after her movie, I couldn't believe it. I love her character, the charisma of it, the jokes she had with Nick Fury. She can also be serious. She's powerful. She fits all the categories for the main lead.
All right, now it's time to talk about this week's Twitter question of the week, which is, if you could pick one of these young heroes to play for your favorite college basketball team in March Madness, who would you choose? And we already talked about it in the show, and it looks like Virginia got it turned around, by the way. Thankfully. I mean, we'll see, hopefully. But here are the options. Miles Morales, Nightwing, Danny Phantom, and Bakugo. So those are the 4 options. Who are you taking among that group if you got somebody to play for your squad?
I'm conflicted right now. It's either going to be Danny Phantom or Miles Morales. One, because does Nightwing have his gadgets?
I don't think he's allowed to bring them on the court because of NCAA rules.
Nah, I can't have Nightwing on. And if Nightwing doesn't have his gadgets, I can't take him. And Bakugo, I think he'll do fine for a little bit. Then I think he'll get fouled and try to fight somebody and get attacked and thrown out the game. So I think Miles has the athleticism, his agility is amazing.
Yeah.
He'll be just all over the place. But Danny, I think, could be a real underrated player because he can turn invisible. You literally can't see him. Maybe I didn't think about this before, but maybe Miles' spider senses could pick him up, pick up where he is. But just the fact that you can't see him is a great advantage. Yeah,
no, I mean, look, I guess there are no terrible options here. I would hesitate. I mean, with Nightwing, I love Nightwing.
Love him.
But at the end of the day, he's only human.
Only human.
And and he's the best human that you could have on a basketball team. Like, he's going to be very agile, very athletic. He'll probably, have some knowledge, some strategies in terms of just competing. But at the end of the day, like, if Ike has a chance to pick up people with superpowers, I'm probably going to take those guys.
Yeah.
Bakugo, even though it'd be hilarious to see him, competing, he'd be a great competitor. He would compete hard, and he would be scoring a lot of points early, but he's got some anger issues. If anybody knows My Hero Academia, I think he'd get ejected pretty early in the game, and you might lose that game because of him. So it's a double-edged sword there, and I'm not sure I want to take that risk.
Nah, I'm good.
So, yeah, I think, Danny Phantom and Miles are the two best options here. And I thought that initially I wanted to go with Miles because of the spider sense and, the jumping ability. It seems like he's made to play basketball. But then after thinking about it, Danny Phantom could really just dominate the tournament. I mean, in so many ways, both offensively and defensively, because not only, you talked about his invisibility, that means he'd be the perfect screen setter. You would never see him coming. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And literally, he's impossible to guard because he's got that phase through ability. So any double teams that come at him, he could literally just walk through you.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like you can really stop Danny Phantom on a basketball court. So he's got to be my choice for me, even though Miles would be a great option. But
shoot, football, he would be unstoppable too.
Yeah, I don't know. And we're not even mentioning, I forgot he can fly. So how do you really stop Danny Phantom on the basketball court? I'm probably going to play him the full minutes. So I'm never taking him out. But
I might just go 4 and 5 for a little bit. Have a cherry pick in the back and just throw it. And just,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But let us know what you think. Go vote at 0 Capes Required. And this is going to do it for our show. Doug, again, thanks for coming on.
It's always good being here.
Yep, but yeah, make sure to go follow at 0 Capes Required again and at Fly to the Sky 11. But until then, hope you're doing well with your brackets and hopefully they go better than mine.
Peace.